Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Ann Minoff. I am a local president down at Women's Council of Broward, and I am here with 2005 past national president, Betty Kincaid. Thank you so much for being here, Betty.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Of course. Wanted to give you an opportunity to give us a brief introduction about yourself so we can get to know you better.
Sure. Well, as you said, I was president 20 years ago. Yes, seems like forever, right? Um, I don't work in real estate anymore. I moved out of Las Vegas and I live in beautiful southern Utah. And I only do real estate now on my personal investments because I have started kind of a second career here. I am a Pilates instructor.
Awesome.
So that's catching up with me for 20 years, right?
That's fantastic. Well, I guess we could dive right into. Oh, sorry. I didn't
No,
mean
I just said you tracked me down. So
Well, I feel so honored. Thank you so much for saying yes.
no problem.
So we can just dive right into the question. So, as a past national president of Women's Council Realtors, what would you say are some of the major contributions you made to the organization during your tenure?
Well, I had to go, I had to go back and look a lot of things up because honestly, 20 years, right? But I did notice, and I thought this was interesting. In January of 2005, the membership was 15,500. And our dues, by the way, were $86, just for a bit of reference. Yeah. By 2006, the membership had grown to 18,600. So that particular group, myself and Brenda and Gail and sweet Judy, who's no longer with us, we were very focused on membership growth. And based on those numbers, it looked like we pretty much achieved a pretty good increase.
Yes, I'd say so. That's amazing. So, any other significant initiatives during your presidency and any of those that you believe are still having a lasting impact on the council? We know that the dues aren't the same, but
I went back and looked at some of the connection magazines from that year. So the first thing to realize is, believe it or not, we used to print and mail a magazine to our members. So obviously we don't do that anymore. But on that same subject, what's really we were talking about then was technology, and it was just blossoming. It was just beginning. So it was just beginning this aspect of the realtors in control of the information, and it was shifting over to that consumer control of the information. And our members, were really struggling to stay on top of this technology. We were always talking about funny stuff, like we called them tablet PCs instead of laptops, geo mapping, websites, etc. So I think to bring that back to today, is you always have to be a little bit ahead of the curve, or hope to be a little bit ahead of the curve and getting educated. What's the next thing? What's coming next? And then the other thing we talked about a lot was all business planning, systems, strategic planning, goal setting, effective supervision of assistants, building multi agent, teams. Again, not as popular 20 years ago as it is now. So we always have to be working our business and making sure that we're keeping up with what's happening in our profession.
love it.
I think that's some of the things. And of course, always the personal development of translating those volunteer skills to our personal and professional life.
All valid. And you could definitely say that it has a radiating impact today. So for sure. How would you describe your leadership style, and how do you think it differed from some of your predecessors?
Well, I always have been and still am very procedural and system oriented. So I like to think that I moved our executive team towards better organization and follow through, like checklists and systems and, knowing what you were going to say before you get up to the podium. Sometimes, that's more helpful. So that, and when I was financial secretary, because I have a background in investing, I really tried to get to simplify those financials and make sure that the members could understand exactly what's happening with their money.
Yeah.
One of the things we did was, I think I was past president at the time, but we redid our investment objectives, and what was our long-term objectives, or what was our long-term reserves versus our strategic reserves, and how we would spend that money and how we would save for the future. And that's, of course, very important to the organization, that they have the finances to make through lows and highs, right?
Yeah, not just for the organization. I also feel like, even in our own businesses, running, realtors sometimes really kind of run into that challenge of not running their business like a business. So there's that side of it, those tangible skills. So I really feel like that's an important element, and you make a valid point with that.
And I think, I hope that that's, improved in large part because of Women's Council and the education and opportunities that they've been offering throughout these last 20 years.
Yeah. So what types of challenges would you say you faced during your presidency, and how did you address them?
It's so funny. I actually just skipped right over that question because I don't really remember challenges. Maybe that's part of my personality. I bet Gail didn't really remember challenges either, because she was all about fun. But if I could go on to the vision, which was kind of the next question, what was the vision? I wanted you to know that in 2005, our average member was 54 years old with 18 years in the business, and 71% of them were in sales, 17% in management, and 22% in ownership, which is actually an amazing number for 20 years ago. My vision, or my hope, is that I don't have those numbers because, but my hope is that those numbers are, that our average age has decreased, and that our number of agents who have management and ownership, either opportunities or positions, has increased, as a result of, again, what Women's Council is trying to do, moving agents into ownership positions, supporting newer and younger agents as they come into the profession. Just an organization that promotes and educates and values women. We used to be known more than 20 years ago as the ladies who lunch. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not, but that was the perception. We just go and have lunch and we gossip. And the biggest thing that Women's Council has done in all of its years is to move forward from that and say, no, we're the standard bearers for our profession. And we're an important seat, important voice at the table in all of our organizations, NAR, WCR, CCIM, all of them need our voice and our wisdom.
I love that. And this segues nicely into the next question, which has to do with mentorship. And we know that mentorship has a big role in leadership. So what impact do you believe your personal mentorship has had on council members fostering growth and development? You've kind of already touched on the vision and how that kind of played out. But anything else that you want to add in that regard?
Well, sometimes you don't know the impact you've had on people. So I think this is going to sound funny, but I was relatively young when I was president, because I'm really old now. But I was in my early 40s, and I think that was a nice thing for younger members to see, because I already told you what our average age was. So we really were an older organization. And I do think that bringing in younger, just to help, you can't live on old, you can't age out your membership. You have to always have new people. So I think that's an important part. And, I like to think I mentored a lot of people by giving them opportunities. We to lead some workshops, to lead classes, to be part of what we used to call the Leadership Academy. I think you guys have a different name for
Yeah.
it now. Or to fill different committee positions, and just to give people the opportunity to see what they're made of.
And that part of it's so true. And I feel like we keep hearing over and over again about how people, they were tapped on the shoulder by someone else. Maybe they didn't believe that they could do certain things, and someone else saw it in them. And
Mhm.
then where they gave them the opportunity, exactly what you're talking about. And then they were able to even kind of shock themselves, about how much they loved it and how great they actually did, and in doing that task. So it's such an educational, it's such an element that the education really does help with.
Yeah.
So I kind of have heard before that advocacy was not as prevalent in the organization, back then. But anything that you want to talk about with regard to any conversations regarding advocacy campaigns? I mean, it might be different than what we know today, but anything you want to talk about and touch on relating to that?
Yeah, well, I did read that question and I thought to myself, I have no idea what this means. So I will say this, that I think that what we would advocate, and I would probably, I feel like I could probably speak for Brenda and Gail and Judy. We advocated for moving to more professional and educational meetings at local, state, and national level. Again, we were moving out of that ladies who lunch, we have fashion shows and we do this, we do that. No, we have meetings that help you get more business, that help you be better, more professional, that help you staff up your team, that has a tangible impact on your business or your personal life.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we really were working on at that time. And it's lovely to know that, what they say, that when you've solved a lot of problems, you can go on to other, maybe not as crucial things. So it's lovely to think that that's where the organization is now.
Yeah. Well, the conversation had to start somewhere. So, you can kind of see the seeds being planted along the way of, what it ended up becoming.
Right.
So what key lessons do you think that current members can learn from both the successes and the setbacks that you've experienced?
Well, I think the most important thing is to trust yourself, that you are in the right place at the right time, and trust your leadership team if you happen to be in that position. And then the thing that I was always told by my very first broker ever was to train your replacement. Don't be afraid of someone taking your position. But if you train your replacement, then the next position for you will open up. So if you're so integral to this position, you're never going to move on and do anything else. So you always have to just train your replacement.
Right. I love that. So how do you think your earlier experiences at the local level have helped to shape your approach to the national scale?
Well, I was very lucky to have a very supportive local and state chapter. The Las Vegas chapter was pretty good size. It was one of the largest chapters, and I had that opportunity to do lots of different things at the local level, including president, obviously, and lots of different things at the state level, including president. And then when I ran to be in the line for Women's Council, they were so supportive of me. I just couldn't ask for more than that. I still have in my studio here at home beautiful picture that they did for me that everyone signed the back
Oh,
of my installation. So they were just really wonderful. They supported me, they believed in me, and they made me look good.
I love it. I love it. So looking back over your journey from local involvement to national leadership, what key lessons could you say that members could learn from not just the experiences and things that you touched on previously, but just the support and other things that you've, like I said, mentioned already, but anything else that you wanted to address on that leadership journey?
I would tell members to take a chance. Okay, just kind of dive in and take a chance. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you say, well, I don't know how to do X. It doesn't, that's not important. pick something, take a chance, figure it out. You're going to get so much support that it's going to be all right if you don't really know how to start. Start at the local chapter, volunteer just for anything, even if it's a little thing, because what you're going to find is what you give was going to come back to you, tenfold. It always comes back.
I love it. So as we kind of come to the end of our questions here and closing out in terms of like a closing statement, but any sage words of wisdom that if I knew then what I know now types of moments would you also like to share with members?
I wish I had sage words of wisdom. I know I am the elderly woman now, but all I know is that you have to move forward. You have to take action. You have to aim high, and you have to take care of yourself. This is so important, physically and mentally. Sometimes in real estate, we get so involved with our clients and with our business, and we forget that we need time for ourselves, that we're taking time out to whatever it is that we do to de-stress. We exercise, or we go for a walk, or we are with our family, or we're with our pets, or whatever. But you need to make sure that you're a well-rounded person as well. And then again, just take a chance. It's okay. It's going to be fine.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I mean, this has been a joy and a pleasure. I feel like there were lots of sage words of wisdom, lots of opportunity here for members to kind of, glean from and take away. But thank you so much again. 2005 past national president, Betty Kincaid. This has been such a pleasure to get to know you, and I truly appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you and have a great day.
You too. Thank you.